This is shit that goes on. But this is a little fruit pop. It's a fruit pop. It's a fruit pop. Trust me.
Me up to break me down, to build me up again. They like, Hov, we need you back so we could kill your ass again. You know, it's like this thing, this love.
Jay Z versus 50 Cent. A hip-hop clash reignites. In hip-hop, rivalries are nothing new. They've fueled lyrics, headlines, and fan debates for decades. But when tensions rise between two titans of the industry, the stakes feel different, and the world pays closer attention. Lately, the spotlight has turned toward Jay Z and 50 Cent, two icons whose influence stretches far beyond music. While both have built empires in business, branding, and culture, whispers of animosity have started to grow louder. And now, those whispers are turning into something harder to ignore. What's fueling this clash? Where did it begin? And more importantly, where is it heading?
No, you're
No,
the best.
I want you to tell it.
You really are the best. You've proven it here today. As much as I'm proving it, you proving it. You proving it. Yeah, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't, people say that. He lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him 50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down 50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need another one. You here, get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It all started with 50 Cent dropping serious shade on Jay Z during a recent interview, and the shots were anything but subtle. While reflecting on his own rise to fame and how strategic alliances can shape an artist's career, 50 made a pointed claim. Jay Z's legendary status, he implied, owes more to Beyoncé than to bars. According to 50, it was only after Jay Z's relationship with the Queen Bey began that the accolades started stacking up, and not just for HOV. Even the kids got Grammys, 50 joked, suggesting that Jay Z's entire orbit, including his children, were reaping awards and recognition without even dropping tracks. While said with a laugh, the message was clear. 50 believes Beyoncé's power and proximity help cement Jay Z's cultural dominance. The comments set off a storm across social media. Fans were divided. Some saw it as typical 50, the king of controversy stirring the pot. Others felt he was voicing something many industry insiders have whispered for years. But one thing was certain. This wasn't just another petty jab. It was a direct hit at Jay Z's credibility and the foundation of his legacy. And when you question the legacy of someone like HOV, who's long positioned himself as a self-made mogul, expect sparks to fly.
You made a comment, right, saying that you knew someone that went through Jimmy Hinchman proffer agreement for a drug case. And the proffer agreement revealed that Jimmy Hinchman, he could have walked away if he would have given up Diddy. What you mean by that?
Well, what happened was that they had 9 different sections with Jimmy Hinchman regarding his proffer agreement. So that means the feds went in there 9 different times to talk to him. And in those sessions, they asked him, what do you know about Sean Puffy Combs or Sean Diddy Combs? I don't think it was Puffy at that time. It wasn't Diddy at the time. But what do you know about Sean John Puffy Combs having sex with underage boys? And you got to realize, and people never think about this, that Jimmy and his brother, I think they had the same charges. But his brother walked away from that, and Jimmy gets life without the possibility of parole, I think. Which is crazy. For any drug charge. Nobody should spend their life in jail for drug charges. And just drug charges. But I think they try to tie him to some murders or something like that. I don't know that to be for sure. But he shouldn't spend his life in jail for no drug charges. Not at all. So, but they was gonna let him walk. If he'd have probably had to for that proffer agreement, they probably would have let him walk. If he had any information regarding Puff having sex with underage boys. That the feds asked him in 2011. In 2011, brother. So what did the feds know? Because the feds not coming there unless somebody made a report or somebody made some allegations against Puff in 2011 to ask a friend of his, Jimmy Henchman, what do you know about that? But for them to ask him about that, it had to be more than a rumor. Somebody made a complaint somewhere. And the feds got hold to that complaint. Now they're going to investigate that complaint when they get people under the barrel, like they had Jimmy Henchman. That's why they asked him.
If he did know information, right, why you think he didn't tell?
Then they would ask, how do you know? And then it comes into play, whereas that if you know of anybody that's in danger in the welfare of a child, and you see that, and you don't report it, you're just as guilty as the person who does it.
While some may dismiss 50 Cent's remarks as classic trolling, there's a deeper undercurrent to his words, a rivalry that's been simmering for years. 50 has a long-standing history of taking shots at Jay Z, often blurring the line between calculated criticism and personal vendetta. In past interviews, he's recalled moments that hint at unresolved tension, including a backstage incident at the American Music Awards. According to 50, Jay Z threw a slick remark his way, a moment that stuck with him, even as both men climbed the ranks of music royalty. Despite Jay Z's cemented success and billionaire status, 50's relentless jab seemed to hit a nerve, sparking debates among fans and industry insiders alike. Why does 50 keep coming for HOV? Is it jealousy, truth-telling, or just 50 doing what he does best, creating controversy that commands attention? Some argue it's strategic, 50's way of staying in the conversation by going after one of hip-hop's most untouchable icons. Others believe there's real animosity, rooted in power, pride, and a long-standing clash of egos. Whatever the reason, the shots are getting louder and the reactions more divided. Because when one titan publicly questions the legacy of another, it's never just about the music. It's about legacy, influence, and who truly wears the crown.
First and foremost, I just want to say, I know a lot of people want to hear these stories and everything like that, because this is stuff that happened back in the day. And then maybe that if they knew there was going to ever be a YouTube, or they knew there was going to ever be social media, a lot of the stuff probably wouldn't have got played out like it did. But things happen, and these are just stories from the past. I would like to use that as, just to clear the facts up what's going on. But it all started, we was in Atlanta. And this story starts when I'm with Puff, and he's in the exotic bookstores, and he's doing shopping, right? He's shopping, getting his stuff and everything like that. So, you know, this is the first time I was ever in an exotic bookstore with Puff. So, you know, I'm giving him his space. He's taking things off the shelves and stuff like that, because they gave him a brown paper bag. When they gave him a brown paper bag, he was just putting stuff in there. So I said, damn, you know, he got to go put it on the counter and, you know, show everybody what he's getting. So as he going, I'm just looking at the places where he picking stuff from. So there's one part he picked up some things from up here on my left side. And then he picked like quite a few of them down. I'm like, okay. He put them in the bag. So So when I went by there and I looked up there and it said butt plugs. And I was like, hey, yo. I was messing with him. Because people don't understand, you know, we was like friends. He was a part of the same gang. So I'm still going to tease him. I'm still going to mess with him and everything like that. I could do that. It wasn't just no security thing. So I say, yo, what are you getting this for? And it said butt plugs. And he was like, yo, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. And he started walking and everything like that. So when he got I just waited at the counter. So when he got to the counter, he didn't even have to show the guy nothing. He just gave the guy a wad of money. I mean, like, he gave the guy a stack something like this. And Puff wasn't the dude that carried no 20s and no 50s and nothing like that. And I mean, like, he just said, boom. And we walked out the store. So we had to leave Atlanta and go to North Carolina for a show. You understand? And it was him, this rapper, Sarah, and this other girl. We all got on a G5 jet.
Another layer to the ongoing scrutiny surrounding Jay Z is the infamous fallout with Dame Dash, his former Rockefeller Records co-founder, business partner, and longtime friend. What started as one of hip-hop's most powerful alliances ended in a bitter public breakup, sending shockwaves through the music industry and sparking uncomfortable questions about loyalty, ambition, and power. Their split wasn't just a business decision. It was a turning point that exposed the brutal undercurrents of success in the entertainment world. Dame has been outspoken in interviews, often framing Jay Z as someone who prioritized corporate ascension over personal bonds. From backdoor deals to boardroom moves, the narrative many have come to believe is that Jay Z, while brilliant, has a pattern of leaving people behind once they've served their purpose. While Jay's rise to billionaire mogul status is undeniably impressive and even inspirational, the ethical cost of that climb continues to shadow his legacy. Fans and critics alike debate whether Jay is a cold strategist who made tough calls in a ruthless industry, or whether his actions reflect something deeper about the sacrifices demanded at the highest levels of success. In an era where authenticity is currency, Jay-Z's history with Dame Dash still lingers as a stain some refuse to ignore. It's not just about a broken business deal. It's about what happens when friendship and ambition collide in an industry built on image, loyalty, and power.
Got on a G5 jet and we flew to G4 jet and we flew to North Carolina. So later on I think that afternoon, same day, this rapper and him, they all in the room together. You know, it's Sarah, the girl, Puff, and this dude, this rapper. So I'm hearing at the door and stuff like that, like, yeah. So then next thing you know, somebody rang the doorbell. We had the presidential suite where we was at. So I opened the door and the dude said, yo, I'm here for my cousin. I said, who your cousin? And he said, Ja Rule. I said, well, he busy right now. He said, he busy doing what? I said, he with Puff. They're in the room. They busy. They don't want to be bothered. He said, well, I'm going in there. I said, bruh, you ain't going in there because he told me they don't want nobody to be bothering them. And he was like, yo, I don't care, man. I'm going in there. That bull like that. I said, yo, bruh, Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the air out of my body before you get in that room right there. Watch. He tried to bum rush me. I grabbed his and threw him against the piano. When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked. And so then Ja was like, yo, what's going on? Yo, Jay, that's my cousin. He know me well. You know, and Puff was like, yo, Jay, what happened? I said, he tried to get in the room. I told him he couldn't get in the room. And he was like, Puff looked at Ja. He said, yo, Ja said, you ain't want to go in that room because there's a lot of freaking going on. So I was like, oh, he said it was a lot of freaking going on. So that was basically that story, man. You know what I'm saying? They went back in the room. Dude felt a certain kind of way, and he left out. So I seen them at the concert the next day, and they tried to, form up against me. But my man Frank was like, I told my man Frank, I was like, yo, Frank, put yourself in that position. Somebody trying to get in the room, and Jai told you don't let nobody get in the room. What would you do? Now, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do, man, but I ain't taking no losses. He said, yo, you good, and that was it. Bro, when Jai said, you don't want to come up in there, a lot of freaky stuff is going on. You got to use your mind. What they was doing with those butt plugs.
Right. Yeah,
that was crazy. It was real wild.
Jay-Z's long-running feud with 50 Cent is just one chapter in a career marked by both extraordinary success and persistent controversy. While his influence in hip-hop is undeniable, Jay-Z has also faced intense criticism for his associations with polarizing figures, most notably his past collaborations with R. Kelly. These partnerships have led some to question his judgment and accuse him of prioritizing commercial gain over moral responsibility. Critics argue that Jay-Z's choices reflect a pattern of strategic alliances that blur the line between ambition and ethical compromise. To them, his trajectory, while remarkable, is punctuated by moments where integrity may have taken a backseat to profit and positioning. However, supporters counter that Jay-Z's legacy shouldn't be reduced to selective controversies. They argue that his empire, built from the ground up, is a testament to his vision, resilience, and business acumen, not simply luck or opportunism. From launching Roc Nation to becoming the first billionaire rapper, Jay-Z's defenders believe his moves were calculated, necessary, and even visionary within an unforgiving industry. Ultimately, the tension surrounding Jay-Z lies in the intersection of power, perception, and principle, and whether true greatness can exist without compromise.
Do anything with Tupac or no? Did you ever?
No, I saw him right before he passed too. Yeah, that's crazy. Never worked with him though.
What did Tupac do? He did gang-related Poetic Justice. He did Juice. And he did a couple other things. He did a basketball.
Did something with Jim Belushi. Remember they did the one thing?
What did he do? Can you Above the Rim, Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson, which I thought it was great.
Yeah. Bullet, I think is.
Oh yeah, gang-related album soundtrack was actually good. I don't know if you've listened to the gang-related soundtrack. It was
Not
actually
in a minute. Not in a minute.
Yeah, it was a really, really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Cuba, with all this stuff that's coming up with Diddy and you're on one end, 50 Cent is calling out Diddy and here's what he's doing and all this stuff, and they got the back and forth.
Yeah.
I got Suge on here.
Look at this example. Look what happened.
Yeah. And I got Suge on. Yeah, exactly. No question about it. What do you think's going on with all the stuff with Diddy, with Little Rod, with, all the stories that everybody's hearing about?
You mean in terms of what?
I mean, being raiding his house being raided.
I mean, that's crazy. That's the craziest thing I'd ever. And then, hey, how about me? I wake up in the morning, I turn on Today Show, and Hector Cuba Gooding Jr. I was like, excuse me, pull me into this. I think whatever he's dealing with, he's on his journey, man. I think that God has got him on a path where I can't imagine that he's stupid enough to do whatever he's doing and keep it on his premises. I think that the raid and all of that stuff, only time will tell who was involved, who had been a frequent guest in these places and areas. It's funny because my lawyers said, every outlet in the world wants to talk to you. And again, I'm like, I'm not defining myself from some headline in the press. So I stayed quiet. And it's so funny. So I'll tell you a little story about who my girlfriend is. She gave Robert De Niro 3 grandkids. Her name is Claudine De Niro. She married his son, Raphael. They separated and we've been together for a while. But she, at one point, ran Naomi Campbell's publicity. She, at one point, ran P. Diddy's publicity, right when he started doing the white party thing. He had just gotten freed from indictment, found not guilty. Did he? And he said to her, I'm going to die running with these niggas, man. I need you to help me with the white folks and the switch. And so she helped cultivate his new image. So they had a friendship for years. But I had never met him till probably 2019, 20, just casually, Claudine and I. He invited us to his house. The pandemic was starting to ease, you know.
As the feud between Jay Z and 50 Cent continues to simmer, fans are left wondering just how far this rivalry will go. What began as subtle jabs and offhand comments has evolved into a public war of words, with both artists taking increasingly pointed shots at each other. The tension appears to be escalating, fueled by a potent mix of personal resentment, professional competition, and long-held grudges. Despite their shared legacy as icons of hip-hop, their clashing egos and contrasting approaches to fame and business have kept them at odds. While Jay-Z embodies the quiet strategist, measured, polished, and corporate, 50 Cent has remained the outspoken provocateur, unafraid to rattle cages or air grievances in public. Fans haven't seen them together in years, and many speculate there's little hope for reconciliation. Some believe this feud is less about music and more about legacy, a battle over who truly holds the crown in the ever-evolving kingdom of hip-hop.
And hadn't seen him since that night where this guy with this picture, it says that I had my shoulder on him and all this stuff, making it look sordid. Well, that picture, everyone in the room, there's probably 300 of us on the deck of P. Diddy's, I'm going to show you, on P. Diddy's boat, New Year's Eve. I went from one ship, Happy New Year. So I hung out with Tyson, and next ship, there's Drake. This ship had P. Diddy. He had his guy, his videographer. They're listening to music. And he says, hey, Cube, listen, you want to hear P. Diddy's new song? I said, yeah, sure. Sit down next to him. They didn't use this angle, which to me makes me laugh, because I go, oh, I get it. You made it look the way you wanted it to look. But that, and if you hold it, you know how you hold it and it does the thing where, can you hear all the people? If you tap it or something, it's a live picture. Do you see what I mean? It's like, here we are just listening to music. Finished, took the thing off, said whatever I said to him, left. That was it. But this guy who's suing him, going after the money, man. I'm sure. And by the way, I don't know P. Diddy's life. I don't know what he's going through. I don't know what the police are going to find on all of that.
Were you guys close? Were you guys friends, or?
We were acquaintances, just like I just showed you. Yeah. 2-3 times I've seen him. So it's.
Oh, so Diddy, you've only seen him 2 or 3 times.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So why would they include you all of a sudden in some way?
I think because of the darkness of the other grab of the cases that I already had went through.
Right. A lot of that stuff is 18, though, 19, right? Those are from 5-6 years ago.
That's
cases.
Right. That's right.
And that was that at the peak of the Me Too movement, or was that pre-Me Too movement?
That's right.
Is Me
that's
Too
right
movement,
when it kicked off. Yeah,
right.
That was crazy.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Diddy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But I did not know that you guys only hung out 2 or 3 times.
That's it, man.
And 50 was with you for your 56th birthday. I think you guys were hanging out together in Miami.
Yeah, because we were in St. Bart's on that boat. But then in Miami, which is where I run around now, of course, I ran into 50 and he was promoting his champagne. I've seen Drake 100 times around town. He loves Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50.
I'm big with the rappers, man.
How do you feel about 50? How's 50 like?
It's so funny. I got a call from 50 who reached out to me and said, we got to uplift our black entertainers and let's work together. I said, great. So we'll see, I try not to voice any of my opinion when it comes to the rap songs, because just like everybody else, I'm into that music, man.
Are you following the Lamar and Drake thing?
No, I just heard about that.
Yeah, got it. I mean, that's like a whole.
Somebody just got shot today outside of Drake's house.
I heard.
Did you see that?
I heard.
So, I mean, it's like drive-by shooting in a gated community. I mean, that sounds a little crazy.
Yeah, Drake's security guard seriously injured in shooting at Toronto's mansion. Guard was shot inside Drake's home and had serious